Once upon a time, in a land bathed in sunlight and bordered by sapphire rivers, there stood a palace like no other. Its walls were carved from white marble, shimmering in every hue as if the sun itself had chosen to dwell there. But what made this palace truly magnificent were the countless jewels embedded into its every corner: rubies, emeralds, sapphires, topaz, and diamonds that glittered like captured stars. Each gem, large or small, told a story, held a secret, and carried a magic of its own. The people of the kingdom called it the Palace of 1,000 Jewels, for every stone was unique, vibrant, and alive with enchantment. In this dazzling palace lived Princess Liora, the only daughter of King Aldrin and Queen Isolde. She was a vision of grace, with long black hair that cascaded like a river of silk, and eyes that reflected the colors of the jewels surrounding her. From the moment she could walk, Liora wandered the palace halls, marveling at the way the light danced across the walls, igniting colors that seemed almost impossible in nature. Her laughter would echo among the corridors, mingling with the soft chimes of crystal chandeliers and the whispers of ancient enchantments. Princess Liora was not only admired for her beauty but for her kind heart. She spent her days helping the people of her kingdom, visiting the villages, and ensuring that even the smallest acts of goodness were never overlooked. Yet, she harbored a secret fascination. She believed that the jewels of her palace were not mere decorations, but living entities with the power to protect, guide, and teach. One morning, as the sun spilled its golden light over the palace gardens, Liora wandered into the Hall of Rubies. The walls were lined with deep red gems that glowed with a fiery warmth. She gently touched a particularly large ruby embedded in the wall, and to her surprise, it shimmered and spoke in a soft, melodious voice. "Princess Liora, the festival approaches, and with it comes a test of courage. Protect the heart of the palace, and its secrets shall remain safe." Startled, Liora stepped back, her heart pounding. She had always known the jewels held magic, but never had one spoken directly to her. Determined to understand, she spent days exploring every corner of the palace, from the emerald halls that reflected wisdom, to the sapphire towers that whispered of calm and serenity, learning the stories and powers of each gem. Soon, the kingdom buzzed with excitement as the Festival of Lights approached, a celebration held once every 5 years, where the palace illuminated the night sky with thousands of colored lights refracted through its jewels. Delegates from distant lands, artisans, and performers all arrived to witness this marvel. The festival was meant to bring joy, prosperity, and unity. Yet, not all were eager to see the palace shine. Far beyond the mountains, in a shadowed forest, a jealous sorcerer named Malveth watched through a crystal orb. He had long desired the magical jewels, believing that controlling them would make him invincible. The glowing palace, full of magic and life, had become an obsession in his dark heart. On the eve of the festival, Princess Liora received a warning from the Hall of Topaz. The yellow stones hummed anxiously, revealing Malveth's intent. "He will come under the veil of night," they warned, seeking the heart of the palace, the largest diamond of all, which holds the combined magic of every jewel. Liora felt a mix of fear and determination. She could not allow the palace's magic to fall into the hands of someone who would use it for destruction. Drawing courage from the ruby's fiery warmth and the sapphire's calm, she resolved to protect the palace herself. With her trusted companion, a small, wise fox named Phelan, who could speak the language of jewels, Liora set out into the secret gardens to gather allies. The palace gardens were alive with magic. Trees with leaves like emeralds whispered secrets of the past, fountains shimmered with liquid sapphires, and the flowers glowed faintly as if the moonlight itself had descended to rest among them. Liora moved with care, gathering creatures of the forest, phoenixes with flames that matched the rubies, water nymphs that mirrored the sapphire fountains, and even the quiet spirits of diamond butterflies whose wings reflected every color in the kingdom. Night fell, and with it came the shadow of Malveth. He crept toward the palace, cloaked in darkness, his eyes fixed on the heart of the palace. But Liora was ready. She and her magical allies awaited silently, every gem in the palace trembling with anticipation. As Malveth approached, the jewels pulsed, creating a dazzling barrier of light. The rubies flared like fire, emeralds shimmered with protective energy, and sapphires reflected illusions to confuse him. "You cannot take what is not yours, Princess Liora declared, stepping forward with Phelan at her side. "This palace is a home, not a prize for greed." Princess laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the halls. "Child, you know not the power you attempt to guard," he hissed, casting a dark spell toward the heart of the palace. But Liora, remembering the lessons whispered by the jewels, focused her energy. She called upon the diamond at the center, feeling the combined magic of rubies, emeralds, sapphires, and every other gem flowing through her. The palace responded, beams of radiant light converging into a shield of blinding brilliance. The sorcerer was thrown backward, unable to withstand the purity and harmony of the palace's magic. Realizing that force alone would not prevail, Liora acted with cleverness. She led Princess into the Hall of Mirrors, where each surface reflected not only his image but also his greed, fear, and envy. Confused and overwhelmed by his own reflection, Princess lost focus, and the jewels bound his magic within the crystal walls, imprisoning him safely. Dawn broke over the kingdom, and the Festival of Lights continued with an even greater brilliance than ever before. The palace sparkled with pride, not only for its beauty but for the courage of the young princess who had protected it. Liora smiled as she wandered through the halls, each jewel greeting her warmly, whispering thanks in its magical language. She had learned that the true magic of the palace was not in the stones themselves, but in the love, courage, and wisdom that guided them. From that day onward, Princess Liora became known not only as the Princess of Jewels but as the Guardian of Magic. The palace stood as a beacon of hope and wonder, reminding the world that beauty and power are strongest when guided by a kind heart. And in every glowing gem, one could see not only light but the reflection of bravery, friendship, and the enduring magic of goodness.